Well, well, well. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. This is the day that the Lord has made, and I choose to rejoice and be glad in it. Well, I am Portia Wheatley. I am the founder and the president of a nonprofit organization acknowledged as Trophy of Life Incorporated. And we have the great pleasure of rendering hope and encouragement to the whole wide world. And I ask that you would help us to share this message of hope, encouragement, and inspiration around the world. But welcome to this platform, acknowledged as Project 365, and that is what we do. We share hope, we share encouragement, and we share inspiration. Well, today you see, I am by myself. I don't have someone on the left. I don't have someone on the right, and I don't have Takira. But we're going to get through this. So yours truly is going to present to you today. Um, we're going to talk today about you being the action. That's the main word, the action of hope and encouragement. The action of hope and encouragement. And it's amazing that in 2006, when Trophy of Life was established, that was our tagline, that we are the action of hope and encouragement. And back in 2006, God knew that this moment was going to come where me, Portia, Elaine, Stanley, Wheatley was going to be sitting in this chair, in this spot, in this time, in this world, to present on being the action of hope and encouragement. Well, I wrote a few notes down so that I won't forget what I wanted to say. So if you see me kind of look to the side, that's what I'm doing. I'm checking on my notes to make sure I speak and share what I feel God wanted me to share about you and I being the action of hope and encouragement. And really, when you think about it, that's really exciting when we are representing God in the earth. That's what we do. I know my mother, being a Stanley, I always say she was just a holy woman, and I'm so grateful to God for that and what she instilled in me. And there were times when being a PK, there are some things you couldn't do because you were a PK, and we represented mom, and I believe we represented her well, and mom and dad. But now at this time, we represent God in the earth, and I understand that more. Before, it was representing Hattie Stanley and representing Portia Wheatley. Now, like Brian and Craig, they have to represent Gordon and I. Even though he's gone on to be with the Lord, his legacy still remains, and that's what they better do. Don't tell him I said that. Anyway, one of the things I wanted to talk about was with the fact of us being hope and encouragement, representing the kingdom of God and representing God himself in the earth. He's the one we get our instructions from. He tells us what to do, how to do it, through whom it is to get done. He corrects us, gives us strength to accomplish what needs to be accomplished. And everything we do comes from him. Everything he instructs us to do or to represent him in the earth should come from him. And it gives us a great pleasure to do that, to actually represent him. What is your purpose? Take a moment to think about that. What is your purpose? What have you been called to do in the earth? Do you know your purpose? Do you know your purpose? And if you can, share that in the comment section, what your purpose is. And if you do not know what your purpose is, may I tell you, of course, ask God. Ask God what your purpose is. And those that, your God, my God, Jesus Christ, God himself, your creator, who created you, ask them what your purpose is. What is it that you love to do? And may I let you know also that your purpose is not necessarily what man said you are to do or you're created to do. It is what God says you're created to do. And something that makes you happy, whatever fulfills you, is usually a part of your purpose. God created you way before your mom and your dad, um, that day of your birth, before anything, before you were named, before they knew your name. God created you in your mom's womb. I tell you what, that time of your mom and your dad coming together, God knew who you were going to be. And from that time to now, it's a must that we have to know who God created us to be. What do you love to do? What brings you fulfillment? What do you like to do even if there was not an audience? What do you like to do even if what would you do, and what do you like to do even if no one patted you on the back? No one was there to say, "You're doing a good job. Attaboy." No, it's just something that you're created to do. I'm going to do it. Come hell or high water, I'm going to do it. And that is part of your purpose. But to be specific and know what you're supposed to do, and know that you are the action of that hope and encouragement that's within you, ask God. Ask God, and He'll tell you just what you need to do. We have to reach beyond ourselves. In this time, in this day, there's no more me, myself, and I. We really do have to represent God in the earth, and we do that by extending ourselves to others. Extend ourselves to others. And I know before COVID, I'm not talking about COVID now because things have been really shut down. But before COVID, what were we doing? Were we sharing love? Were we reaching out to our community? Were we working at the church? Were we representing God on our jobs? Because you are the action, and action is not something that's stagnant or still. Action is something that is done. It's an activity that is done, and you become hope and encouragement for other people. You can encourage yourself, but it must be done in an order that it represents God, and God gets the glory out of how you do it, what is done, who is done with, through whom is done, how it's said. All of that goes to honoring God and God getting the glory out of our lives. And it brings you such joy and such fulfillment to know that, God, you're going to use me. I know I am not perfect, but God, you're going to use me. I've done this and I've done that. I was nasty in my past, but He's looking at you now. He's looking at Him in you, in me, what we can be, what we are. We are the sons and daughters of God. Oh man, that makes me excited. That makes me excited for the fact that He chose me. Okay, let's see here. My next point. What can we do to render hope? Matter of fact, let's see, what is hope? Hope is something that you look forward to, in anticipation of something being better, and even encouragement, somewhat on the same line that you can share with someone to uh, make them feel better. A time of anticipation. Something is going to change, something is going to get better. And I believe it, I hope for it. I have faith that it will get better. And when we can hold on to hope, now, hopelessness is a terrible place to be in. But many of us, or shall I say, many people in the world, have been at a place of hopelessness. But you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay there. Um, and I can't say that it's all believers who can give a word of hope and or encouragement, or them together. Look at the alcoholic or the drug addict or the prostitute or the gambler who has an addiction. Even those people, or even some of the mess that I may have done, somewhere in all of our being, those individuals can still give words of hope and encouragement. So don't think just because we're believers, we believe in Jesus Christ, or we believe that God Himself lives within us, that we are above experiences that hope and encouragement can't touch. Let me share this. In the midst of all that we experience, somewhere in life, we're going to have some ups and we're going to have some downs. Definitely. It's just a given. We're going to do that. We're going to happen. That's going to happen to us. But when, even as a believer, we can get a word of hope and encouragement from a child. We can get a word of hope and encouragement from someone that we don't necessarily care for. But the fact of the matter is, we are here to be the action of hope and encouragement. Why? Because we represent God in the earth. Allow God to use you, because others are certainly looking at you. They may not ever come to church. They may not ever read a Bible. They may not ever sing, Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. But they're looking at your life. If you proclaim Jesus Christ, people are looking at your life. You're being read like a Bible. You're being looked at. You're being diagnosed. You are being one of those individuals that, okay, you're professing one thing, but are we living what we profess? What comes out of our mouth? Are we actually living what we talk about? Think about it. I'll give you a second, because I'm speaking to myself as well. This is like looking in a mirror, but I know within myself, I am at the point like, God, it's got to be all you. Even individuals that I don't necessarily, there's one, no, I'm not even gonna say that I don't necessarily like to be in the presence of all the time. I'm like, God, whatever it is, get that, the core of the matter out. Get in there and get it out, because I have to represent you in the earth. Because at one point, I may have to share a word of hope. I may have to share a word of encouragement to that same person. We're not perfect, but we're striving for perfection every day. But we can do it with the help of the Lord. We can do it. Allow God to use us, because like I said, people are watching us. And how are we responding to the times that we live in today? How are we responding? Do we respond in the same way that people that have no hope respond? Even in our tone of voice, how do we respond? What is the difference? I love you versus I love you. You see the difference? There's a difference in tone, because the first one is like you're just saying it just to be saying it. Do you really love me? Because even out of our mouths, people can sense the spirit from which those words come from. So again, you represent God. I represent God. And we're striving for perfection. Well, you say, how can I give? Or how can I be the action of hope and encouragement? One way is through our giving. And I'm sure some of our minds went directly to your money, although that's a part of it. But it's not always your money. Your time is important. The action of hope and encouragement can be given through your time. Be a volunteer of a cause that's greater than you. Be a volunteer of supporting an organization by volunteering, or even when you don't have the money, again, you can do your time. And then when you sit around the dinner table and you have leftovers, believe me, the homeless would love to have your leftovers. Think about it. Some of the things that we do, we are wasteful, but our trash is someone's valuable assets. So when you're eating dinner, instead of throwing that last piece of chicken, pork chop, whatever you eat, a cold salad, whether it's chicken salad, tuna salad, any kind of salad, if you would eat it, the homeless would eat it. That's a way of giving. That's a way of representing God in the earth with your action of hope and encouragement. Be passionate about what you do, about what we do. We are eating at home. Oh, we eat well. We eat really well. But please don't forget the homeless. Don't forget the homeless. You make that big. Now, nobody can make a small pot of soup. It's almost impossible. So, and I know you don't, I know you, I know you don't eat all of that soup. So because you've been eating it for days. So save some for the homeless. Instead of throwing it out, save some for the homeless. Your action of hope and encouragement, and you're reaching out into the community, whether it's at your church, your time, your money, because in this season, even with this pandemic, it hasn't been a hardship for everyone. This pandemic has been a blessing for many. So what are you going to do with that increase? And whatever you give out, God will replenish. Whatever mode of giving you give, God will replenish you. Believe it. Believe it. Oh, yes, believe it. It's amazing. It is so amazing. And then, it's not a thing of testing God or if he's going to do it. Without a doubt, he's going to do it. You represent him, he's going to represent you. He's going to do it. I believe he's going to do it. God will do it. Your time, we talked about your time. See, we talk a good game. We talk a good game. But what do you do? I always say talk is cheap. Yep, that's what I say. Talk is cheap. You talk, we can do this and we can do that. But what are we actually doing? And it's always where someone can look on the outside, from the outside rather, and look in and, well, you should do this and you should do that. And why don't you do this? And why don't you do that? May I tell you what, or shall I ask you, what are you doing to represent God in the earth? To be the action of hope and encouragement. What are you doing? You can do something. No more poor me, woe is me. Get outside of that me, myself, and I. We can do it. We can do it. There's something that we can do. We talk a good game. We talk a good game. Stop looking at others and what they're doing. God created you with an original plan. He had you in mind. There is something specifically and strategically set aside for you to do. It is. It really is. You don't look at others, because when you try to fit into the plan that man has made for you, you will become frustrated because we become frustrated because we didn't ask God, should I do this? Should I take this job? Should I marry this man? Should I go here? Should I go there? Should I, whatever plan you have, especially if it's a long-term plan, ask God. And your plan or your purpose in life, it may not look like everyone else's plan or purpose. And many times it doesn't. And then when we begin to ask people, do you think I should do this? Do you think I should do that? Do you think, if God hasn't spoken to them, what do you think they're going to say? So don't share everything God tells you to do for him. Take it to him. And then even your spiritual advisor, whether it be your pastor or someone that you really trust, you can ask them, because it would be someone that would confirm what God has spoken to you. And especially your pastor, your senior pastor, or someone that they have assigned to speak with you. Just know that you're in line with what God has said about you. Align yourself with what God says about you. Bump what everybody else says. Whatever God says about you, that's what you work on. That's what you do. My spiritual father, he was my pastor. Well, his son is the pastor now, which is also good. But he always say, keep your ear to God's mouth, because he's going to tell you some things that no one else may hear. But many times your spiritual leader will confirm, because God speaks to them as well. And while I'm on that note, let me give a shout out to my senior pastor, Bishop Gregory Dennis and Tanya Dennis, and my spiritual father, Archbishop Ralph Dennis, and his beautiful wife, Lady Deborah Dennis. They're awesome leaders, and we can trust our awesome leaders. When they hear from God, we can trust what God has said to you, for them to confirm, for them to confirm. And then if there's some still there, go back to God again, ask him again, ask him again, and then ask him again. He'll give you the direct answer as to what you need to do. Know that when you operate in that man's plan, some questions are going to come up, but God will give you clear direction and a clear answer as to what you do, especially when you're representing him and you step out into, literally, it's somewhat of the unknown. It's like, God, you're calling me to do that. Believe me, before he calls you out, somewhere along the line, he's equipped you. And you're like, okay, I remember you said this. I remember you told me to do that. I remember I had this experience or that experience. And all of it leads to your purpose. Your purpose. Your purpose in the earth. It's amazing. It is amazing. And sometimes we really do have to do things afraid. We do have to do things afraid, because there are times when you're like, okay, I'm the first one to do this. I'm the first one to do this in my family, or I'm the first one to do this in this region, or I'm the first one to do this ever. So you become the leader. But don't forget, as you climb those steps, you climb that ladder, treat people the way you would want to be treated. Because going up, if it's not God's purpose, you're going to probably see the same people coming down. But when you first acknowledge God and allow him to direct your path, and when you are representing him, you become the action of hope and encouragement in the earth. He's definitely going to make sure you're taken care of. It is amazing when you step out on faith. Step out on faith. Step out on faith. He will direct your path. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires of your heart. And you will become fulfilled. You will become a light. You will become peaceful. You will be able to encourage yourself. You take my word, you will be able to encourage yourself. Well, thank you for this time that we've had together. And I wanted to share a couple of things that Project 365 is doing, so that you will be a part. I tell you, when I say that I need you to help take this, sorry about that, to take this message around the world, where I go, you go. And I am so grateful for your support in tuning in every day, and for sharing and for commenting. I may not get to all the comments, because with doing this thing every day, I'm like, and then sharing all of that. I just don't have the strength, but God's going to do it, because I am the action of hope and encouragement. One of the things we want you to do is go to our YouTube channel and subscribe, so that we can customize our link and have our own Trophy of Life link. The other thing is, don't forget, we are holding a health challenge. And what it is we're encouraging you to begin or continue a healthy lifestyle in losing weight. For every pound that you lose up to 25, we give you $2. Now, that's 50. Automatically, that's 50. And then Takira is going to come and match that 50. So that's 100. Now, Dr. Vicki Johnson of Soul Wealth She has matched our 50. So now the pot is up to $150. You lose 25 pounds by July the 16th. You will get, and your name is drawn, you will get $150. Now, if anybody want to match that $50, let me know so that we can give hope and encouragement to that individual who lose 25 pounds. Okay. Don't forget, we are a nonprofit organization as well as a 501c3, meaning you can donate, and donate, and it be written off on your taxes. Okay. So just to know, we feed the homeless, we work with widows and widowers, we support college students. There are several other things that we do uh, outside of Trophy of Life, as far as partnering with other organizations. But we do need funding so that we can continue to be hope and encouragement, and the action of hope and encouragement in the earth. Last but not least, each month, whoever presents that really resonates with you the best or the most or your greatest takeaway, email me at info@trophyoflife.org. Info@trophyoflife.org. And if your name is drawn, we got a prize for you. We have a prize for you. On that health challenge, let me go back to that momentarily. You have to take a picture with you on the scale and your weight showing. Yeah, everybody's not honest, so don't play me. Don't play me. The picture of you on the scale, you on the scale with your weight, okay? Okay. Well, I think we're done. We're done for the day. Thank you, Jesus. You let me make it through this day. You let me make it through this segment. Okay. On that note, I thank you again for watching. I thank you for being my support system. And I pray that this word of asking how you can be the action of hope and encouragement has inspired you to do something beyond yourself, to connect with another organization or even Trophy of Life to see how you can be the action of hope and encouragement. God bless you. I love you, and we shall see you tomorrow.